This is MVCC's Topic Circles.
Hi, Sara.
Hi.
Today we're doing our topic circle on hearing and visual, and I would like to ask you about your diagnoses. What affects you? When did you understand that you were losing your hearing? Things of that sort.
So it began with my hearing loss. My babysitter, when I was 4.5 years of age, told my mom, and then that's when I realized that, because I was getting testing, that something was wrong. So when I was 4.5, I got my first hearing aid before kindergarten, and then when I was in the 5th grade, I got my second hearing aid, And then it wasn't until 17 that I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, which I then found out that the disabilities are connected, and because I'm a descendant from Ashkenazi Jews, that it was hereditary. But I was the first person in my family who was actually diagnosed with having Usher syndrome.
Interesting. So that affects your hearing, but also your visual?
Correct. It's usually hearing loss first before vision.
So how has it affected your vision?
So retinitis pigmentosa is when the retina pulls away from the back of the eye, so it affects the peripheral vision.
Okay.
So to give you an idea, I can see my hands back here, cannot see them, but now I can see them.
Okay.
So it affects people differently, and the worst case scenario is full blindness. But I'd been stable for decades now.
So you've pretty much grown up with something.
Some things.
Diagnoses and stuff. Did you, how did you have, what were some of your accommodations when you were in high school or?
Okay. So, So elementary school, I had to wear an FM system, which had a bunch of cords leading to my ears. Very distracting, very pronounced, well-known, seen, whatever. It was like a stigma for me. I will be honest with you, I fought using it because I was so different, and being in the school that I was, didn't feel accepted. Junior high came along, and I had issues with the principal because I was fighting using it. But the real reason was that the hearing aids weren't compatible with it. They weren't working together right, and I was told to pretty much deal with it. Going into high school, I didn't use it. I was very independent. I did well. I doubled up. I graduated a year early. I went for foreign exchange. I came home. I went to college and undergraduate. I had a FM system that I used, but nothing compares to that experience
When you were a child?
When I was a child to what I have now, which is bilateral cochlear implants, and I hear everything.
So that just helped you tremendously.
Yes, I'm extremely independent. I am not afraid of hearing my own voice. I can enunciate. I couldn't do that before.
When did you get your cochlear implant?
I got my right one in March of 2012 and my second one that same year in November of 2012. And it's really changed my life. Can take my own notes. Don't have to look at people when they talk to me. I still prefer it because I think I'm just used to showing that respect of, when you talk to someone, you face them.
Do you still read lips?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Not as good, believe it or not. If I am forced to try, I'm not as good as I used to be.
Is it hard reading lips?
I don't think so. I honestly think everybody does it. They just don't zoom in on that. Yeah.
So I'm aware that there's a lot better equipment and hearing aids and things that the Bluetooth now and things of that sort. Were the cochlear implants at a time when, they started coming out.
I did not qualify for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So originally you didn't?
I did not. So back in 2004, I went from analog hearing aids to digital hearing aids. And when I got the digital hearing aids, they were more powerful, but I was still hearing the same amount, which is like 50% of hearing. I only personally have 10% natural hearing in both my ears. I'm considered severe to profound, but I don't identify with deafness. Not because I don't want to be labeled that way. It's just I grew up hearing, and that's how I identified, is that I needed aid to hear. So when I got my digital hearing aids, I had to relearn what sounds were. Like, I never heard the crispness of a bird chirping, a key in the door, closing a door. They were like so loud and just so profound, and I really had to relearn. But when I got my cochlears, I can now hear between 90 and 95%. I cannot handle 100%. But I had to relearn everything. My brain had to relearn what sounds were, what they were, to identify what they were. And
so was that a lot for you? I mean, it's kind of like it's sounds and everything. If you're not used to that, and all of a sudden you've got all these sounds, that can be very distracting.
yeah.
How did you handle it?
Not well at first. Even today I have some issues. People shuffling their feet is really loud. Mechanical pencils, I had the instinct to want to grab that and just throw it across the room. I've since come down, but the best way to explain having cochlear implants is stimulation, and it's overstimulation. It exhausts me. So every opportunity that I have, I take them off just to take a break.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, right? So when you were in college, did you use the disability services?
Yes, I did. Everywhere I went, I used them. Very different from place to place. Brandeis had not so good accommodations. I got what I needed, but they were one place to go to get them. I went to a dean who was in charge of disabilities, and he took care of everything. I really miss that guy. When I came to SUNY New Paltz, I got what I needed, but I was only there for a summer or whatever. I didn't really need anything, just note-taking. And back then, they used the non-carbonated carbon paper? The 2-ply?
Yes.
NCR paper.
What is that called?
I have no idea. We'll figure that out.
Yes.
So I would actually give it to my note taker who would get paid for it, and they would take notes and then rip off the top. I get the bottom, and then that's how I did it. It wasn't until I came to MVCC for some classes that I was pursuing for another degree that that was true accommodations for me, where I was guided with what was available, and then I also brought up some new ideas that OAR was very receptive to helping me get.
And what would you say to students today that are coming in, the 18-year-old with a hearing disability or visual, as far as understanding or giving them some sort of advice?
First thing I would tell them is you need to advocate for yourself. A person, even if they work in Office of Accessibility Resources or any other resources that are available for people with disabilities, they're not going to understand exactly what you're dealing with. So you have to be upfront. You have to be honest, not only with yourself, but with others. Having or needing accommodations is not a stigma. And I actually think and tell them, take advantage of it. I got extra time on tests because of my anxiety. I got a separate location, so the distractions that I hear don't overwhelm me and overstimulate me to distract me. What else did I get? And I was allowed to take a recording of the class if I needed it, if I wanted to re-listen to it and take notes. Good stuff. I just want people to know that even though hearing and visual might not be a physical disability as someone that has that needs to use a assistive device, believe it or not, living with the disabilities have not been easy, but that doesn't mean that should take over your life. It's not who you are. It's you being strong and learning how to live your life the way it's meant to be lived.
Love it.